Europe, which have just opened for trade. They've opened deep in the red, possibly in large part because of the outcome of what the French elections could throw up. But we've got James Ashley, who's a senior European economist at RBC Capital Markets, who joins us on the phone line to get us a better perspective of what the week ahead might look like. James, to begin with, what would you attribute the very weak opening that we've seen in the European markets to?
I think there's a couple of factors behind that. Firstly, there's the weekend news, the political news, primarily out of the Netherlands, actually, which is still in the limelight to some extent from France. So the Dutch government appears to be teetering on the brink of collapse, given that it appears to be unable to come to an agreement over a further round of fiscal consolidation measures. So that's being taken as a major negative, given that the Netherlands has been one of the key stalwarts within the core of Europe. In addition to that, obviously, we have the French election result, and that's obviously shown some of the more extreme parties, both on the left and the right, gaining significant momentum and significant support. And then just a few minutes ago, we've had some numbers coming out of France in the form of the flash PMI readings for April, and there we've seen a significant decline in the services readings. I think a number of factors, all of which have combined to start the week off on a fairly negative note.
Afternoon, James. You had the European Central Bank officials which resisted calls from the IMF as well as the US Treasury to do more to stem the debt crisis in the euro area. What do you make of that, and are you going to be circumspect on the European markets for this entire week?
I think in terms of the first point you raised about the ECB, I think to some extent they're going to be hampered in terms of what they can do. I think if we see sovereign yields rise significantly further and at a rapid pace, then we could see them reinitiate the securities market program and therefore start to intervene in secondary bond markets. So that is something that they could do. But above and beyond that, I think for the time being, they're relatively limited in terms of their ability to act. Really, the onus for action now has to be on the governments themselves in terms of making the necessary fiscal consolidation measures and trying to regenerate growth in parts of Europe. So I think the ECB's role is certainly important, but for the time being, I think it's probably not in the focus. It's not the driver of markets right now. In terms of the week ahead, what we should be looking for, I think really today is important for the euro area in terms of the PMI readings. And again, in Europe, we have the ECB's quarterly bank lending survey on Wednesday, so that will be well worth watching out for. But apart from that, obviously the main highlight will be the Fed meeting and the press conference, what comes out of there. So I think really the US will be very important this week.
Thanks very much, James Ashley, for joining in on the show.